Ruby Franke from 8 Passengers was arrested 1 year ago, and in the words of her son, Chad Franke, happy prisonversary. We're going to take a look back right now at all the times viewers questioned the parenting style of Ruby Franke and her husband, Kevin Franke. Let's take a look at some clips of how Ruby Franke treated her family over the years. And remember, these clips were when she had a camera rolling for her show 8 Passengers on YouTube. We don't know what the life of these children was like behind closed doors. Let's first listen to how Ruby Franke speaks about herself when she's on her podcast with Jody Hildebrand.
I was a hugely disconnected, selfish, aggressive, neglectful mother. Entitled. I wanted my kids to be happy, which AKA translated into, I want my kids to get off my back. Because I want to do what I want to do. I want to be able to go to Target. I want to be able to shop. I want to be able to have a moment of silence where I can just think. It was all about me.
She also addressed on the podcast her reasons why she shut down her YouTube channel. This is what she had to say.
You wonder where I've been on my vlogs. You wonder why I left YouTube. It's to save my kids. No amount of money. I'm telling you, I was making millions. And I left it because my kids were being hurt. With entitlement, they were being hurt. With people's advice, and they didn't have a mother up the front saying, I don't care what the world's opinion is. This is the truth, and this is where I stand. And fortunately, I had a chance. I had them in my home long enough to do it, and I'm not going to lose.
There are numerous clips on our 8 Passenger show as well, with Ruby Franke withholding food from her children or talking about it like food is a privilege.
You're torturing him. Stop it. I know you're not, but it looks like you are. Hey, Russell. I'm only going to say it one more time, and then you're going to lose the privilege to eat.
I find a lot really disturbing in this next clip. This clip is of her youngest, Eve, when she's in school. She's about 5 or 6 years old. The teacher contacts Ruby saying that Eve has no lunch. And this is what Ruby says.
I just got a text message from Eve's teacher, and she said that Eve did not pack a lunch today, and can I bring a lunch over to the school? This happens quite often when you're raising children, because I know that her teacher is uncomfortable with her being hungry and not having a lunch, and it would ease her discomfort if I came to the school with a lunch. But I responded and just said, Eve is responsible for making her lunches in the morning, and she actually told me she did pack a lunch. So the natural outcome is she's just going to need to be hungry. And hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch.
This next clip is 12-year-old Russell, who is the one who actually climbed out of Jody Hildebrand's home and went to a neighbor's saying he was hungry, thirsty, and had the duct tape and rope burns and lacerations. Russell in this clip is yelling in the background saying that there's no food in his home.
There's nothing to eat?
Yeah, I need to go to the store. Stop. Just stop.
It's true.
Just stop. No, that is not true.
In one episode of 8 Passengers, Chad and Ruby are sitting down having a conversation, and they're talking about the fact that Chad had his bedroom taken from him for 7 months. He ended up having to sleep on a beanbag chair, and it was all because he played a prank on his younger brother, Russell. In this next clip, Chad is actually having a conversation and saying that he has no clothes left because his mother got mad and donated them to charity.
Look, when I went to Anasazi, Mom got mad and there were a ton of clothes on my floor, so she donated all the clothes that were on the floor. So I came home to like 3 pairs of pants and like 5 shirts.
I want you to pay attention to Russell's face in this next clip. Russell turns around and has what I believe is a complete look of fear on his face when he realizes the mood that his mother's in. She ended up giving him a hard time because he had a pair of socks on his lawn.
I'm gonna go get dressed for football.
You're going to have to go find your shorts. Oh, did you see the socks you threw at the side of the garden? And you are not going anywhere unless you pick up your junk. You've got crap strewn all around. No, so you see, now I'm using bad language. That's how bad of a mood I'm in. You get your socks picked up, and don't you leave your stuff out anymore. Right over there. Run and go pick them up. And then give me 10 push-ups.
Put them in your pocket so you can take them down to the hamper and drop and give me 10.
1.
Put your hands straight out. They're in. They're not supposed to be out. Shape your hands forward. There you go. Here's the deal. Everything that comes into this house belongs to who? You. Belongs to me. Everything. So you don't have a cell phone. You have access to a phone. Chad does not have a cell phone I took from him. He has access, which benefits were withdrawn. About a year ago, maybe over a year ago, all the kids lost their phone privileges.
Ruby and Kevin caused a lot of controversy over how they discipline their children. Here's one example.
If you cut one more thing in my house, I'm going to take the scissors, look at me, and I'm going to cut its head off.
God, I'm gonna be so mad.
So what are you going to do?
Are you gonna cut everything else?
You promise? Look at Mama.
That was poor Eve, their youngest daughter. She's now 10. Here's a clip of her when she was just 4 years old and going to preschool.
2 days ago was preschool. Eve slept in. She's notorious for sleeping in. And she woke up and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to wake her up because every time I wake her up, she gets super grumpy and upset and I have to literally drag her and get her dressed. And she's old enough to do that herself. And she missed preschool. She slept in and she woke up and she's like, I'm ready to go to preschool. I said, you know what? Preschool's over. You slept through it. I'm sorry. And she's like, what? And I said, you need to get up and get ready if you're going to go to preschool because I'm not going to drag you out of bed.
Viewers went crazy after one episode Ruby Frankie gets on and tells everyone that she has now taken Christmas from her 2 youngest children. So Russell and Eve would not have Santa visiting them.
Laid it out very clear. And we told them that this year they are not going to be visited by Santa.
She also seemed to enjoy using food as a punishment for the kids in clips like this.
Can you give me some breakfast?
You don't need food. Stop crying or I'm going to have you go upstairs and you won't have any breakfast. Okay. And my kids are literally starving. I hesitate to say this because it's going to sound like I'm like a mean barbarian, but I told the kids, I said, I'm not even going to let you eat breakfast until you get your chores.
It also became extremely evident how scared the kids were of their mother and her reactions.
Oh, did you ruin your bag?
What kind of stain is it?
All right, Julie. The camera's rolling, so I can't get that mad. It helps keep me under control.
I think it's every night.
I know.
Yeah, she sees it every night. She can never sleep.
And you thought you had to sneak it past me? Oh, honey, that's okay. Are you gonna cry?
She's laughing.
Oh, honey, I'm not gonna get mad at you for that. Oh, you can bring sprinkles. Like, instead of crying, you need to use words to tell me.
Because I was scared of you because you were being so mad. You got me in more crying.
She's also been extremely vocal about the fact that her children were not welcome in her home once they turned 18 years old.
My kids are not welcome to come live with me after they're 18. I am very straightforward about that.
She had so many negative comments about that fact that she decided to try and defend herself.
One comment once explaining how I expect our children to live out on their own outside of the house after they're 18 and after they've graduated from high school. I was accused of abuse. It's like, it's abuse to expect your children to be responsible.
To grow up and be productive adults.
You guys, it's crazy, ridiculous how people are so scared of responsibility. It really does freak me out just a little bit. It's where the entitlement has come in. And so many parents are scared to raise their teenage kids. So many parents are scared of their kids. Do not be scared of your kids.
They apparently didn't want to deal with their second oldest child anymore, Chad, and they shipped him off to a wilderness camp.
Chad today has just entered the Anasazi Foundation Wilderness Therapy Program, where he's going to spend the next 8 to 10 weeks living in the
Anasazi Desert.
Let's take a look at some more clips of how the Frankie family treated their children. And let's start off with how they spoke about Russell. Remember, just the other day, Ruby Frankie said some horrible things about Russell during a custody hearing. Well, this is how they spoke about him on camera.
Russell is incredibly mature for his age. His ability to empathize with other people and to connect with them at an age of 10 is incredible. Like, he truly thinks about other people and doesn't think about himself. And he's been that way ever since he was a little kid.
Yeah, he's just born that way.
So that was Kevin Frankie stressing how mature Russell is and how empathetic he is. And now here's what Ruby has to say.
I love Russell's sincerity. I don't think Russell knows how to tell a lie if he tried. He's so honest.
I love his willingness to share.
He's very generous.
I like that he's like unapologetically himself.
I look back at when I was his age, and that was not him. I was not empathic at all, but there's just a lot of empathy.
I like how he forgives me no matter what I do.
Oh, he is very forgiving, isn't he?
This next clip is Rudy Frankie trying to explain why Eve didn't get to go on their family skiing trip.
So the reason why Eve did not go skiing with us was because she left her ski coat at school. And over the Christmas break before New Year's, they took everything from the lost and found and took it to donate. And Eve said, well, that's okay. Just buy me a new one. Just buy me a new ski coat. I said, that is a very entitled attitude. And that is not how we work around here. If you lost your ski coat, you lost your privilege to go ski.
Entitled. She was 6 years old, mistakenly forgot her ski coat at school over the winter holidays, and they would not replace her jacket, so she missed out on a family ski trip. In this next clip, this is Ruby Frankie getting upset because her kids are excited for Christmas and they wanted to start drawing names on who they were going to buy presents for Christmas. She got upset that they were already excited, called it selfish, and this is what they did instead.
Yeah, so this morning the conversation went that the kids really wanted to draw names for Christmas. I insist it's too early and I don't want to be breeding thoughts of, I don't know, selfishness. So we had a thought, an idea.
Okay, so we like the idea of drawing names, but instead of drawing names for Christmas gifts, for the next 4 weeks, every Monday night, our kids are going to draw a name of a sibling, and they're going to do an act of service for that sibling sometime during the week.
Is it just me, or did you find Kevin a little too happy about drawing names for acts of service? It almost looks like he realized how miserable the kids were and he was taking joy in it. And for Ruby Frankie to call it selfish that they wanted to draw names to see who they were going to buy for is ridiculous. This next clip talks about sleepovers. So in a couple of episodes on 8 Passengers, Ruby Frankie and her children talk about the fact that they're not allowed to have sleepovers. She tries to explain why in one of the Connections podcasts.
What? You're saying no sleepovers now and sleepovers are distorted? What in the world? Yes, sleepovers are distorted. Here's why. I am the mother and I am responsible to know what is going on with my child. And when I send my child to sleep over at someone's home, that is really vulnerable. My child, for most of the time at that home, is going to be unconscious. They're going to be sleeping. They're not going to be awake and alert. And that naturally makes them more vulnerable. And I don't know what's going on in that home. I don't have any ability to know the reality inside that person's home. And so by me allowing my child to go over and spend the night at that home, now I am neglecting my responsibility. I have just handed it over to someone.
I think we can probably all agree that sleepovers at other people's homes would have been much more safe than having sleepovers in their own homes. This next clip is Rudy Frankie, and she is trying to explain how the way she loves her children actually makes her look like a monster, but it's really a good thing.
This is what love sounds like. When you see someone hurting, you acknowledge the hurt. If your kid came to you on fire, would you say, I'm so glad you trusted me to tell me you're on fire? But if I put out the fire, that's going to really hurt and you're going to end up with scabs anyway. So I'm just going to love you where you are right now. No, you You throw them on the ground and you start rolling them. You get a blanket and you start hitting the flames. And they're going to say, you're hurting me. You're beating me. You're controlling. It's like, no, dear, hold still. I'm getting the fire out. That's what a loving parent does. And because nobody will do it, it looks to the world crazy. And because they've never been loved before, it looks like I'm angry. To them, it looks like I'm controlling. It looks like I'm militant. It looks like I'm a monster. It looks like I'm mean. It looks like I'm full of hate. It looks like I'm not accepting it because they don't know what love looks like or sounds like.
And this last clip that I'm going to leave you with is Ruby Franke when she announced that she was leaving the 8 Passengers recordings more for the connection side of it and deciding that she's going to do some parent coaching.
I thought it would be a good idea to give you a little bit of an update, a life update, and let you know what's going on. So I have been spending more time with connections and being a mental health educator, and I am teaching a parenting class in September.
The first clip I'm going to show you, however, is an introduction to Ruby Franke and her siblings.
We're going to start with the oldest. We'll work our way to the youngest. Your name and how old you are, I think, is a good start.
Okay, I am Ruby. I am the oldest, and I think I'm 33. I'm pretty sure.
I was hoping that you'd say definitely, because I was like, oh, this is easy. I'll just subtract 2 from you.
I'm pretty sure it's 33.
Okay, that means I'm 31.
What's your name?
Bo Griffiths.
He's Bobo. Bo Chad. I'm Bonnie. I am the middle, and I am 30. On Thursday. Happy birthday, Bonnie.
Happy birthday, Bonnie.
I am Julie. I'm number 4 of 5, and I am 27 years old. Yeah, and I am, obviously you know, because you are on my channel, I am Ellie, and I am 24.
In this next clip, the kids have left items around the home. Ruby went around with the garbage bag, collected it all up, and then she and Kevin informed the kids that they would have to buy back their own items. Watch Chad's expression when she says that.
So you're all like, what? I have your attention now? Mm-hmm. Is that it? You're all going to listen? If you have something in the bag that you would like out, you can pay cash for it. So you learn the value of your items. Or you can give what? Dad, I'll let you take the conversation from here.
You can do an equivalent value chore to get it back.
What's it?
This next clip is Ruby Franke talking to her kids the day before school starts and laying down all her rules she has for the kids before school starts. Pay attention to the end of the clip, however, and when we see her youngest child get out of bed.
And when you come in, I expect you to be washed, your hair fixed,
Dried and put away.
and dressed, and your bed's made. So if you can do all of that in 10 minutes, awesome. If it takes you an hour because you want to take a long hot bath, then get up earlier. But you need to be in the kitchen, ready.
As Eve is upstairs sleeping.
As Eve's upstairs sleeping. It's going to be a big adjustment for Eve. She's our biggest sleeper-inner.
She, like, an alarm clock, she won't wake her up. Like, we physically have to, like, go.
It's like she's 17. And she just wants to sleep and sleep and sleep. Oh, Eve! Speaking of Eve, good morning. I made you eggs and pancakes. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you?
This last clip is when their youngest daughter got in trouble at school for apparently hurting their youngest son. Take a look at how Ruby treats her during this.
Push you?
No.
I kick you?
No.
What if you're in my way and I want to kick you? What happens?
Well, did you know somebody was in my way in mine, and then they kicked me and stomped me?
Well, did you know that Russell was in your way today and you hurt him so badly he had to come home?
Eve, everybody has a space around them that is their boundary, and you can't go past it because you can hurt them.
What if I took my hand and I hit you like that? Would that be crossing the boundary? Yeah.
Is that okay to do?
Is that okay? But what if I really am in a hurry and I just don't like you being there? I have a really, really good reason for just getting in your boundary.
You can't do that. Well, if you do that, that's mean.
Mm-hmm. But why do you do that to other people?
I'm glad to hear you're sorry.
This clip of Ruby Frankie shows clearly how she treated her 2 younger children worse than she treated the other 4. I find this extremely difficult to watch as a mother, as a human. She took Christmas from her 2 youngest children while they had to watch the other 4 have Santa visit and open their gifts. And instead, she and Kevin gave her 2 youngest the gift of truth because they're so selfish.
Knowing people these days, I don't know if people are gonna, how they're gonna respond. So Kevin and I, we have 6 children. The 2 youngest are showing long patterns of selfishness. They have been showing, through their choices, their unwillingness to repent, their unwillingness to feel sorrow over some pretty egregious choices that they've made. So Kevin and I have decided that we are going to give the gift of truth to them this year for Christmas. We are going to give them the gift of boundaries, and we're going to give them the gift of repentance. So we sat down with them, and we told these 2 what our expectations were again, and we let them know how deeply sorrowful we've been because of the choices that they've been making, and how it's affected their teachers at school, it's affected their peers. And we just laid it out very clear. And we told them that this year they are not going to be visited by Santa. Christmas morning, their 4 older siblings will be getting Christmas presents to open, and that they will have the gift of love from their dad and I. So up until now, I was really hoping that keeping them home from school and wiping the floorboards would really bring pain. Like, oh my gosh, I really want to change this behavior that I've been exhibiting. And it wasn't painful for them. They're like, oh yay, we get to stay home from school and clean floorboards. This is kind of fun. It's like, so, they've had these visceral experiences, and they haven't affected them. It's because they're so numb. And so the more numb your child is, the greater experience, the bigger the outcome. They need to wake them up. You're not going to push a boulder with just your hands. You need some real leverage. And the biggest leverage that a little child has is probably Santa Claus. And so I expressed to them that I love your soul more than anything in this world. And I literally would do anything to invite you into repentance. And I know parents say that. I would do anything for my kid. But really, what I think most parents are saying is, I would give anything to you if I would pay any price monetarily. I don't know how many parents are actually willing to put any boundary in place that would bring a turnaround, that would really bring repentance.
Ruby Frankie admits in this clip to disciplining her children off camera, so we don't see what actually happens. In this scene, her youngest is playing with her nail polish in the bathroom when she drops it on the floor and gets it on the rug and tiles. Sherry, their oldest daughter, is actually trying to calm Ruby down in this scene so that she handles her sister and the situation better. I want you to pay close attention to their youngest son's reaction, how he feels at the end, and that he's trying to stick up for his sister.
And then I found this. You only got a little gist of it on camera. All of the discipline takes place off camera. We saved the floor. It came off the tile okay. But I think my rug is totaled.
But aren't you glad it happened that way and not the other way around?
Well, it came off the tile okay.
Well, I know, but aren't you glad?
I'm glad it came off the tile and
So you have to look at the bright side.
Thank you, Sherry.
The tile is good, and it would have been a lot more expensive than to replace at most $100 rug.
It's not $100, yeah. Not that expensive. Okay.
Mom, Eve wants to say sorry.
Okay. You tell her to come here. Come here. Come here.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry for what?
I'm sorry for making a mess, and
I am more upset that you came in my room when you knew you weren't supposed to. And you got into my things that you knew were not yours. That makes me more upset than making a mess. Because messes happen, but you were sneaking. And then you hid instead of telling me the truth.
I was just really sorry, and I didn't mean to do it. And then I said I shouldn't have done this idea.
You knew that it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
You're still going to have the consequence of not having your nails done for a month. Do you understand that?
Yes. And I still want to buy you one of the Nutter rugs.
You still want to buy me a new rug? Maybe you can do some extra chores to help them with the money.
Mom.
It's a deal. Give me a hug.
Mom, can I help you too to get paid? Because I want a lot of money.
You.
I apologize.
Okay, I need some time alone. I need some space.